everybody.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We appreciate you joining us for session 3 of our 3-part program with Zest. My name is Alyssa Scarciati. I'm the clinical education manager here with Lexir Dental Laboratory Group. So tonight we are presenting Rethinking Edentulism, 3rd part of our series. We have joining us, we have an excellent group. We have a panel of presenters for you all this evening. So we have Karen Gauthier, who is with Lexir Dental Laboratory Group. She provides chairside support for full arch and overdenture cases. So she'll be presenting here for the lab. And then Amy Halil, who you saw in the previous sessions, who's very knowledgeable, and she's with Zest. So she'll be co-presenting with Karen. And then we have Todd Hyduck of Zest as well. And we have Yolanda Thomas here from Lexir and Emily Geisey here from Lexir as well. So good group to really be able to answer any of your questions. This evening, we're going to be focusing on digital workflow and laboratory communication. So we'll be discussing digital workflows with the Zest Overdenture system and how to best communicate that with your lab. I'll kick it over to Amy.
Yes, thank you very much. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for joining us this evening for our 3rd-part series with Lexir Dental Lab, along with Zest Dental Solutions. So again, my name is Amy Halil. I am the Global Education Manager with Zest Dental Solutions, and I'm very, very proud to be with you guys this evening. For those on the East Coast, we're finally just shoveling out from the snow and the blizzard, and for everyone on the West Coast, we hopefully you guys are nice and warm and with no snow. So we just wanted to talk about tonight digital workflow and laboratory communication. So, we get a lot of questions not only at Zest, but as partners with a dental laboratory. And, what can we do for that workflow? So we're going to be talking again about like that laboratory workflow, whether it's analog we talked about last time, and now we're going to move into the digital realm. So there's that difference between analog and digital. And again, we want to stress that the beauty of locator overdentures, locator fixed, and a laboratory such as Lexir is they work with both workflows. They do work with an analog workflow, and they also do work with a digital workflow. So if your office currently is analog at the moment and we're looking to get into the digital workflow, Lexir is a great partner to reach out to help you get to that next step. Or if you're in that transition where you do some workflows analog, some digital, again, we wanted to stress how easy overdenture therapy and fixed full arch therapy can be with both workflows. Or if you're just digital, Lexir is a phenomenal laboratory that works with a team of digital support, and they're going to talk about how that communication goes working in the digital space. We're also going to have Lexir discuss what the laboratory requirements are. We get questions all the time. How do I write that prescription? What do I write? What do I communicate to the lab? So they're going to go over what is best to communicate to the lab based on the prescriptions and what you need, and then going over some troubleshooting. So really quick before I begin, up in the upper right-hand screen, you see a little box that says comments. So we'd love to hear your comments. You can keep them coming throughout the webinar. We like to keep this very interactive. So Alyssa, our MC, is going to be reading off comments, asking questions. So if anything I'm speaking on, or Karen, or Emily, or Yolanda, or Todd are speaking on, please just put a comment in the box, and then we can get those answered for you. And then at the end of the webinar, if we didn't answer your comments, we will reach out as well to answer any questions. So what we're going to start with I mentioned is a review of what we talked about our last webinar series, this analog. So I come right out of the gate with some great pictures of our analog workflow for locator overdenture and locator fixed. On top of these gold locator abutments, which we discussed last time and in the previous webinar, we have our impression copings. These are our digital cap or our analog caps that snap on to the locator abutments. They're a universal impression coping, and they snap on any locator abutment, no matter what implant system, no matter what cuff height, no matter what platform of the implant, they are universal. And they snap onto the locators. As you see on that lower right-hand corner, that picture, box A shows the locator abutments, B shows the impression copings on. Then as you move through and take the analog impression with the PVS, our analogs are placed, our laboratory analogs are placed, and then the laboratory will move forward fabricating the overdenture or the locator fixed prosthesis via an analog workflow. So this was just a little review on showing you that, again, we do have the capabilities. We don't want anyone getting scared if they're not currently comfortable with digital, or they're maybe doing some digital, some analog. We still want you to know that Zest Dental Solutions and Lexier Dental Laboratory are well-versed in here to help you with any workflow that you're going to be working through. So again, this is just kind of another image of what I was talking about, where you're snapping on those analogs. I'm sorry, your impression copings. That next image down does show that you can make a verification jig chair side. Take an impression of those impression copings, send it off to your lab, and then they will move forward and fabricate that overdenture or locator fixed prosthesis with your analog impression copings. For today's lecture, we wanted to highlight again the beauty of the digital workflow and the ease of the digital workflow. And the cornerstone of that is our scan body, our locator scan body. So currently right now, we're in development for advancing our digital workflow. As we know, technology is always advancing. So at Zest and with partners such as Lexier, we are working towards advancing that digital workflow. So currently, as it stands right now with Zest, our digital workflow consists of our scan body. The scan body is that tan cap that you see on the screen. It's made out of a rigid PEEK material, and it snaps onto the top of that locator abutment. And just like I mentioned with our impression copings, the scan body is universal. It can fit on any locator abutment. It can fit on any implant system that it has a locator abutment on it, whether it's a locator angled abutment, whether it's going to be for locator overdenture, or it's going to be for locator fixed. The scan body snaps on and is used universally. So when you look at this image, you see, everyone's like, well, what does it do? Is there any coding on it or any way for the scanner to recognize that it is the scan body? In our scan bodies, what they do is they're almost like a cap that snaps on top of the locator. It's got a matte finish, so that allows your scanner to pick up the position and the angulation of your locator abutment. It does have some slightly flat sides on it, as you can see from that image, kind of in a north, south, east, west position to allow that scanner to easily capture the position of the locator. And when you look in the image on the right and you see that scan of the denture and you look under that canine, you can see that that's where that scan body is. So that's what your scanner and your software will work on finding the position of that locator abutment. These are the records that Lexier is going to talk about tonight and what they need to help fabricate that prosthesis. But all the scan body does is that, again, it just kind of snaps onto the locator abutment, and it allows for that scanner to capture where the position of the locator is. We know scanners have a hard time capturing shiny surfaces or wet surfaces. So that's what this cap does, is it kind of mats out where that locator abutment is, and it allows for that scanner to pick that up. It also has the exact kind of thickness of the scan body to allow for the laboratory to fabricate the prosthesis with the recesses already in the prosthesis. So you don't have to guess on how big of a recess you have to fabricate to allow for the housing to be picked up. So our scan bodies, again, as I mentioned, is universal. It can go for overdenture, locator fixed, or locator angled. And again, it does have those 4 flat directional indicators just to help your scanner pick up the scan body and align the position of your locator abutment. The scan bodies are made from a durable PEEK material and they can be reused. So very similar to the workflow of our analog, you're placing your locator abutments, you're going to place your scan bodies on top of the locator abutments, and then move forward with scanning with your iOS, whichever iOS you have in your office. And I know Lexier is going to be talking about some of the different scanners and systems that they work with best. Very, very simple. You're going to scan it just as you would in any other scan in the mouth, trying to capture all of the anatomy, and they're going to, again, review that with you tonight. So as you see here in an image, this is using one of our scanners, and you can see the scan bodies on a model here. I'm going to show you just a quick video of what that looks like when you are scanning. And again, this is going to be scanning on a model, but it does show the locator scan bodies are. So you can see you're going to start your scan as you traditionally would, move around the mouth, and trying to capture all of the anatomy. Our assistant is scanning the lingual, obviously the occlusal, the buccal surfaces, trying to get in the vestibules, and capturing all the necessary anatomy. And again, Lexia is going to be reviewing all of that with you tonight. So you can see what the scan bodies are doing is they're allowing that scanner to capture those exact position of the locator abutments. They act as that, kind of matte surface to easily pick up where those abutments are, so the lab can easily fabricate that prosthesis for you. Again, very, very easy to use and very easy for your scanner to pick up. If all scannings was so easy on a model as they are in patient's mouth. But here is just going to show you the final scan and what that looks like and how easy it is to scan using our locator scan bodies. So at this time, I'm going to pass this off to Karen at Lexia, who's going to review kind of once they get that scan, what information she needs and what the next steps are for moving towards the laboratory workflow. All righty, Karen, you are all set and your presentation is up on the screen.
All right, so we can see this. Everybody can see it?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, good. All right, so my name's Karen. I'm from Lexia Dental Group. Thank you guys for all being here tonight with us. So I'm going to follow right with what Amy was saying with when you guys are communicating with the lab, biggest things that we find is you guys need to fill out the lab slip correctly. Let us know what exactly we're doing. Is there an existing denture? Are we starting from scratch? Is this going to be a locator removable or fixed? Because those are two different things. A locator removable and a locator fixed, if you guys were on for the previous series, Amy did go over on exactly how they are not the same. The biggest thing too is you guys are not letting us know the shade. Giving us all of this is going to increase the turnaround time, and there'll be, a lot less headaches, a lot less phone calls, just a smoother working process. Good set of scans is always good to have. We require for anything to do with pretty much full arch, including locator, overdentures, and fixed. We need a patient full face smiling, their profile. We need retracted occlusion with the two retractors pulling each side. And then what I like to call is the crazy face, the over-exaggerated smile where you can see the patient's huge, big mouth, all their teeth as much as possible. And we need that for the transition line. You always have that, especially female, sorry to knock it on us, but usually it's a female where, they're a little sensitive and you want to see exactly where that their lips gonna fall when they're laughing and they're hanging out with their friends and they're super excited and they're screaming and yelling. You want to see where that lip's actually gonna fall, so you don't come across something where the lip's getting stuck under the denture or sticking to it and it just doesn't look good. The RX needs to be detailed. The type of denture, whether it's going to be a printed one or an acrylic, the mold, the shade, and then tissue measurements. We spoke about it on the last session, the importance of actually measuring the tissue correctly when you're doing the locators. You're going to do the four sides, mesial, distal, lingual, and buccal, and we go with the biggest number. If you're not sure on which one to give us, more information the better. You would detail it on the lab slip. Mesial was, let's say, 3, distal 4, and so on and so on. Also, you need to let us know if you're going to be doing this chair side and picking it up, and if we're placing the recess for the housings or not, and then any additional notes as well. For the scans, this is the fun part, guys. You need full scans for upper and lower, not half of a palate or just the buccal surface, We need the entire palate all the way back to the retro pads. On the lower, same thing. All the way back to the retro pads, grab as much vestibule as possible, and then the bite needs to be good. If we're dealing with an existing denture, regardless, always make sure to take a 360 scan. It's very helpful. Whether you're going to keep it or not, we're using the aesthetics or not, it's always a good starting point for our labs. So the importance of a good scan. I think we all know good scans, happy doc, happy office, quicker turnaround time, less phone calls you guys are going to be getting from our lab saying, hey, we need a whole new scan. You know, the palette's missing on here. Oh, by the way, what's the shade? If you give us good scans right off the bat, you won't hear from us. We will make what you need and we will ship it out the door ASAP. With good scans, you're going to get more of an accurate fit. You'll have less remakes and you're going to see the patient 1 or 2 times, probably less for depending on the situation, which equals more production for you docs. Less remakes. How does a good scan make a less remake? Well, you guys might send the scan and you think it's great. We look at it and it works. It works. But then the day comes for the insert of a denture and it's not hearing that suction on an upper palate. Probably because the scan wasn't the greatest and we kind of just did what we needed to do to get by, which isn't what we want to do, but we can't call every single person every single time something's completely not perfect on a scan. So trying to aim for perfection with doing the scanning before you send it to us makes everyone's life easier. The great thing is that we also at Lexia have digital trainers in the field that if you guys have an office that's having trouble or you think you need a refresher, we can have somebody go out there and help you guys. So these are just some of the scan evaluations that we have here. One of them is the tissue scan with the locator bodies on. Guys, can you see my little cursor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this tissue scan for the lower scan body scan, that's what a pretty ideal one would look like. The bite scan, how the left and the right are completely closed. There's no openings. So it's a very stable, accurate bite. So this is what it looks like. Some of the reasons why we would have to get our new scan, why our lab would contact you and say, hey, get this patient in ASAP to get a new scan in. Usually because we have scattered stitching problems, whether you overscanned or not enough scanned. Bite is not completely closed on one side or the patient moved. When you do the bite, make sure the patients are staying nice and tight. If they do shift, it will be off. And I think that's what happened with this guy right here. And then some of the detail, for whatever reason, isn't picking up. And I also like to say there's no palette on here as well. Tips for quality scans. So I know these are a few tips and I'm going to have, Emily and Yolanda probably pop in on some of these as well, since Yolanda is one of our digital trainers that goes out into the field and Emily is the director of the digital team. So it's very great to have them tonight. So few major things is you want to keep the edentulous tissue as dry as possible when you're scanning. You can use a 2x2, dry it with gauze as you can scan. If your assistant's in the room, they can use an air water syringe, but you got to be careful because sometimes when you're blowing that air, it will kind of pop back up at you and it will get on the scanner wand. The camera of it will get a little dirty. You're only going to turn the wand off in between segments. You're not going to do it while you're scanning. So it's important because the denture it's stitching issues. So if you're in the middle of a scan and you shut that off and then try to turn it back on and go to that spot again, it's going to cause more unnecessary stitching problems than needed. So you only want to shut it off with at the midline and then shut it off, switch your hand, turn it back on and go from there. You need prominent areas for anatomy for reference points. So I'm usually, if it's not edentulous, I usually go to a canine or a molar to try to re-pick up. If it's edentulous, I always try to get the frenum. And biggest tip of all is operatory lights and the natural light. Sometimes darkness is the greatest thing for scanning because there's no reflecting against anything. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to those.
Yeah. So also, I love to use cotton rolls. I like to wet the tip of the cotton roll, so just in case it becomes smudged, the scanner, you can clean it with that cotton roll, and then it will pick up much better. But Karen, you're doing pretty good. Yeah.
That's pretty good considering you're the digital trainer.
Right. Come out with me anytime you want.
So another big thing is sitting the patient up. I am not 100%. I don't really like doing scanning on people laying in the supine and they're laying completely flat. I'm not a fan of it. 45-degree angle, usually the best. You're not going to break your back, and you can comfortably get that wand in there easily. Hold on, I'm just trying to get my bearings here. I apologize.
One thing I'll add to Karen is just when you're another tip for like scan review. I always like to look at the scan in monochrome and color. That can really help when you're looking in the monochrome or that stone view. If you're familiar with that verbiage for your scanner, either way, it really helps to see if there is actual stitching issues. It's happened to me before. If I'm just looking in color, you can't really always see when there's stitching issues, or maybe the incisal edge we didn't capture as good as we could have, or what have you. I would always evaluate your scans in monochrome too. Just another little trick to make sure we're getting a good scan.
No, that's great. That's a good trick. And I actually learned this myself from Emily right here about doing that. And it actually has helped me quite a bit. Another thing too, is when you're scanning some of these dentures out of the mouth, don't try to do a bite with the dentures out of the mouth. If it's an upper and a lower, please put them back in the patient's mouth and have them bite. Don't take them out of the mouth and occlude them yourself and try to articulate it and then hold it and scan it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way in hell that your next set is going to fit.
Yep.
That's very important. Another thing that I really want to clarify, I'm sorry, not clarify, but really stress on is this cleaning of the impression material from the actual buccal surfaces. If you have material there, your scanner is not going to recognize when you go to do the bite. And if you do the bite using a blue mousse registration, you're going to want to trim that back as well, because if there's too much material there, the scanner is not going to recognize the anatomy. So it's best to make sure that you're trimming back everything using your scalpel or scissors if that's easier for you.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's a great point. That is a great point. So we at Lexier we do a lot of digital printed dentures. There's a few benefits to these, and they work very well with locator overdentures and fixed overdentures. They're a better fit. They're better durability and strength. There's no more wax try-ins. So it cuts down appointments a lot. 2 or 3 appointments, it's cutting down. There's no more single tooth repairs. So you have, the patients that come in that you have, immediate acrylic denture, and for whatever reason, they drop it on the floor or something, they bite into something and one of their teeth breaks in half or flings out of their mouth. It's not going to happen with a digital denture. And they're digitally designed teeth. So they're not just picked from a card and, okay, we're going to do, M3 from whatever card you're picking from. They're actually digitally designed where we're going in and doing this custom to fit this patient. So they're great. I really like them for full arch, whether it's for locator overdenture or for locator fixed. I think they look really nice. In my opinion, they look a little bit more realistic because they're custom to that patient. Which brings me to the points that I made earlier with photos. We need photos. Facial, smile, over exaggerated. We need all that to make sure that these dentures, that these teeth look as realistic as possible, so that patients are extremely happy and tell everybody about you, so they keep coming back. So this is just a little bit on the digital dentures. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with them. You might have heard them. I don't know if you're using them. This is just kind of what we've been using. They're FDA cleared for overdentures, so they're great for them. These are just little tidbits of information.
I'll add to that, Karen, too, just because there's so many new resins coming out to the market. There's other, I just want to highlight that the Lucitone digital print is FDA cleared. So always ask, if you are working with a different lab or you're talking to somebody about printed dentures, just highlighting that there's different resins out there and, different durability. So just wanted to kind of hit on the Lucitone digital print is what Lexier uses, and that resin is actually FDA cleared for overdentures. Just wanted to be clear on that.
I will also just add to that we do have an on-demand webinar on our website that goes over specifically in-depth digital dentures and the technology and the different resins. So if you're looking for additional resources on that, go to our website, lexier.com/clinical education, and there's some great resources if you want to learn a little bit more about that.
I also want to highlight how easy they are to take care of. There's no need to soak them, and you can clean them with a soft toothbrush and a mild soap. So and it stays beautiful. So, and you get a 5-year warranty on it. So we have an amazing warranty program when it comes to our digital dentures. I don't think you're going to find that anywhere else.
Also, for these, because it's such a quicker turnaround time for you and your office to get these, they're a great alternative for the pickup for locator overdentures. We get you the immediate denture, you can try it in, then have the patient wear it for a little while, then they can come back, and then you guys can do the immediate chairside pickup for locator overdentures, which we have someone, which would be me, that can go to your office to help you with your first couple to get the hang of it. But again, the biggest thing here is we need photos. We need the lab slip to be correct and detailed, and we need good scans. My biggest thing when I'm talking to doctors that I deal with is I don't care how many times you call me or text me, as long as you get me good facial photos where I can see a transition line and I can see them at rest, and I have good scans, we can pretty much make you whatever you need. If you're not going to be able to just supply that to us, well, then that'll be a different conversation. But we can pretty much make anything you need for, these dentures, if that's what you give us. So this is just a quick little video of just our Lucitone digital print, just in case you guys are interested, not to take it from Zest, but this is another alternative to go with Zest for the overdentures, like I said. So I'll just play that real quick for you guys, if it allows me to.
It's playing.
Like the workflow of how it works. This is not what you guys would be doing in the office. This would be on our side for the lab to make you this. But it's just so you guys have a little bit of intel of what we do in the lab, and we're not just sitting there waiting to call you to tell you that your case is going to be late.
Karen, how long does it take to print a denture at your lab?
It's about 2.5 hours, give or take.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Give or take. So you can see there where there was different, I don't know if you guys saw it. I'm not like a huge technical person, so I'm not going to go back because I'll probably end up shutting my whole computer off. But if you saw it quickly, they had the card of the denture teeth, and then they had for the design. So that's what I meant by either with this, you're getting with digital dentures, you're getting like a custom design rather than picking from denture teeth card.
I also like to say that for the overdentures, it's a 3 millimeter thickness. So it's not a very thick denture. The denture is very nice and thin, and it's lightweight for the patients and durable.
Yep, they are. And they're very easy to finish down. So after you're doing a chairside pickup for, a Zest locator overdenture, it's very easy to finish down. You're not going to have as much dust flying into your assistant's face, mouth, and nose and eating it. It's so much easier. It's cleaner, and it does look a lot nicer. It does, if I'm being honest. Awesome. So do you guys have anything to add into this, or?
See, I didn't see any questions come through yet, right?
No. The only thing I'd like to add in is that if you'd like for us to be there for your first patient, you can just contact us, and I definitely can come into your office. No need to worry how far your practice is. I go from Washington State all the way to Maine.
We did have a question, and I don't know if maybe I would direct this more towards Zest. It looks like we have someone who is a patient that's looking for a dentist to convert their removable to fixed. Is there a resource? I'm just curious if there is a resource through Zest, or what's the best way to find a clinician that would be able to do that?
I mean, what we found is that they can call our company and talk to customer service, and they can at least customer service just give them some direction on where to go.
Okay, great. Thanks, Todd. Any other questions or comments? Has anyone? We'd love to hear feedback on what types of scanners people are using. If you've done a case with Zest, with the scan bodies and the digital workflow, and any feedback for us as well. And we did have someone that asked how to reach the lab. So I did put in, if you do want to reach our lab, I mean, the best thing would probably be to go to our website, and you could certainly call into our main number as well. I know we have a contact form, or we have a send a case form right on the website as well. So that's where I would guide you. And then we will be sending a follow-up email to everyone that attended with contact information for us here at the lab, and for Karen if you have any additional questions as well.
Yep. I'll put my email in the comment box.
Perfect.
And Karen, I know we just, quick question, like I've gotten some questions in the past on what your thoughts are for what scanner is best. Do you have a preferred scanner, or do you see some are better with either edentulous or overdentures than other scanners? I know some, specialize in either single tooth crowns, or are they pretty universal? And then with that, I know, Yolanda, we talked about it also again, just what methods can Lexier do to help them with getting, either getting a scanner into their office or getting their staff trained?
So I'm not 100% like, oh, this is the best one, this is not so good. They're all good. For soft tissue, my top are Trios, Prime Scan, and the newest Lumina is magnificent. The Medit 900 is actually pretty good as well for soft tissue. So as digital's becoming bigger and more advanced, some of these scanners are getting very good for soft tissue. But right now, if you were to ask me, Amy, which scanner would you prefer to have with you all the time to scan for soft tissue? Right now, I'm going to say Lumina.
Yeah.
All
it's
around.
incredible how far the technology has come with digital scanners. There's a lot less frustration with edentulous tissue now with a lot of the scanners. I do agree, Karen, the Lumina is pretty impressive and fast with scans now. It's pretty awesome. But there are so many scanners that do a really good job. And I think the key too is following a scan path or scan strategy when you're scanning edentulous tissues, or if they have an existing denture you're trying to scan extraorally, and 360. So we have that full denture. That's something that I see too, is just like when you're trying to scan all over a place and you don't really have a strategy of how you're scanning, especially again with dentures and edentulous tissue, it really makes a difference.
It does.
It
definitely does. And it's easy to use too. It's not complicated on how to put the patient in. It's very straightforward. It's easy to use. And then for placing scanners, Yolanda, I'm to having you.
Yes. So if you are looking to purchase the scanner, you can contact us directly, and we can discuss what type of scanner that you're looking for, and then we can introduce you to the representative that is selling that scanner in your territory or your area. I'm sorry, not territory, in your area. So that is how we can help you. But I'm gonna be in agreement with Emily and Karen that Lumina is absolutely amazing. They have really figured out how to get that edentulous tissue very easily. Doctors are so excited when they scan and they're like, oh my God, that's it. It's like, yes. And it took them an entire 1 minute.
Yep. So when you guys get the Zest scan bodies for the locators, you guys shouldn't have a problem scanning those at all. Not with Illumina if you have it.
Not at all. You were so right, Karen.
Yeah. We do have another question that came in. Question about overdenture with locators. Do you recommend some kind of wire reinforcement for lower dentures? On 2 occasions, I find the patient came back with the denture snapped in the midline.
Yeah. So if you have 2 occasions where you've had dentures snapped in the midline, I mean, obviously, you're going to reproduce those same results, even with various patients. So we definitely recommend either you have the proper amount of thickness around the housings, and using a high impact denture material. You potentially could get away with that, especially if the patient had an upper full denture. But I definitely would recommend talking with the lab and talking about the various metal reinforcement, or there's even alternative materials out there that we can reinforce these dentures with now.
Yep, we do. We have many different options for reinforcement. We can put, another wire reinforcement, mesh, and then we do have other materials alternatives that we can use if you have a patient that's constantly breaking these. But that goes with, we'll when you're sending us all the proper requirements, we'll kind of have an idea of what's going on with this patient and their bite as well. So that's something that as a lab would reach out and we would discuss this with the doctor. We'll discuss the treatment planning. So that goes hand in hand with all the requirements. But yep, absolutely.
I don't see any other questions come in. We can hang on for a minute. I don't know if there's anything else that anyone else wants to add. I
think we covered it.
Yeah, it truly is. It is that straightforward with the scanning. Yes, it's just a streamlined way to, get the denture further along to you be able to do the conversion a lot easier. So definitely some nuances with the scanning, and we as a lab are here to support and help with that, and little things like what materials, and do you want to go digital, do you want to go analog with your denture. We're here to kind of support you throughout that as well. So,
and the biggest things, like I keep saying, are those photos, the scanning, and the tissue measurements. If you're unsure with the tissue measurements, please reach out and ask. And if you know how to measure, because you've already seen Amy and Todd's previous, and you know how to take that perio probe and measure right on the platform height, then write down all the measurements you see. If mesial, it says 3, write it down. Distal's 3, write it down. And then we'll take that information on the lab end to get you the correct stuff.
Awesome. Well, I think if we don't have any more questions, we can call it a wrap and let everyone out of class a little bit early.
Yeah, people like class with me because my stuff's usually pretty quick. I guess just the point.
Give you 20 minutes back in your evening. Definitely appreciate everyone joining. Oh, we have one other question. So, wait. Okay. Okay, sorry. A couple other questions. Do you know any good hands-on courses on denture designing, printing, and finishing components? I would say that's not something really that us as a lab would be able to support you with.
No, I think Zest has some. I think Todd and Amy might say. I think they have some education courses. But
we do, and we do have, and part of the curriculum is talking about, dentures, but more of, record taking, not so much denture design, as well as, printing and finishing the components. So that would be something I would say is, maybe even talking to the either the software companies, the folks who are making the materials. They have a lot of like online learning that could help you.
Okay, and then the other question is, are the Zest locator scan bodies compatible for MUAs for hybrid dentures?
So the answer is no. So those scan bodies actually snap over top of locator. And the key reasoning for this is to create the exact spacing that's needed inside the denture when the denture is fabricated digitally for the housing as well as the material that you're luting the housings with. So it's not now, if you're using a locator that we had that's designed to go over the MUA, then you could still use the same scan body because it goes on top of all locator abutments.
Okay, well, I think you all have or will be receiving our contact information as well. So if there's additional questions, were you going to show something quick, Amy?
I think she's having some technical difficulties there. So yeah. This is just sharing with everybody about what I was describing is that we actually have a new angled locator, but based on the question was for MUA, depending on the various companies, MUA, most of them are universal. We have this MUA locator abutment. So the abutment itself, you have this collar. And then the actual locator piece will actually screw down through the collar into the MUA. So this is what I was talking about. Now, if you're the actual traditional MUA, we don't have anything specific that snaps over as a scan body because we're trying to capture the geometry of the locator, not the actual MUA itself.
Yep.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, well, I think we can call it a wrap. Thank you again, everyone, for your time this evening. Thank you, Amy, Todd, Emily, Karen, Yolanda. You all definitely had some excellent resources to share. So we'll continue to be here for you for support should you have questions down the line. And we hope to see you at a future course. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Everybody, I'm going to have the CE code up on the screen right now. You can scan that to receive your CE credit for putting up with us tonight. So I'll leave that up for a second. I'm also going to put on, once we kind of get that, we'll also send this link out to all of our attendees for those that are unable to grab it on their phone. And then also our contact information. So I know we had a few questions of some of our audience members that were looking for us to gain some other information, whether it's through the laboratory or patient care or overdenture care. Please reach out to us at our email addresses as you see here. We'll be more than happy to get some answers for you.
We don't see